everybody. Welcome to the 10th part of my C++ beginner tutorial. Today we're going to be covering while loops. While loops are fairly similar to the for loop. I would say they're a little less common, but just as useful. They're again really similar, so we're just going to dive right into it and just start. And I'm going to erase most of this code here so we can just start fresh. So what we need to do is we need to create the while loop, and it's just the same as the for loop here, and it only takes one argument. Now this argument is essentially just a true or false statement, so it checks whether it's true. So we can have a boolean value in here. We can have it say if the boolean is equal to false, if it's equal to true, then continue to run this loop. We're going to say grade. If grade is greater than or equal to 0, then we're going to continue to run, which means that we need a grade. So we'll say grade, and we'll set that. And then I'm going to need a, let's make that a float. I'm going to need another variable here, and this is going to be an integer, and it's just going to be grade number. So what we can do here is I can just say grade number, so grade number, and then pass the grade number variable into this. We're going to set grade number equal to 1 to start with. And then what we can do is at the bottom here, we can say grade number plus plus. And so that'll increment it. Unlike the for loop, the while loop does not increment a variable unless you make it increment the variable. So that's the program here. Now we're going to run into a compile error here, but I wanted to take this time to kind of demonstrate how the debugger works when you compile a code. So it's going to compile. We'll get this pop-up that says there were build errors. Would you like to continue and run the last successful build? Well, down here we can read this, and it'll tell us here what line the code was on and what the problem was. Now this is a little tricky. It says uninitialized local variable. Now uninitialized is saying that the variable doesn't have a value. So if we look at line 12 here, this is in the while loop, it's saying, well, I'm going to try and check the grade. I'm going to check to make sure grade is greater than or equal to 0. Well, currently nothing is stored in grade. There's nothing here. So what we need to do is we need to just set this equal to just 0, just so there's no grade. And then we can run the program with no errors, and it should work for us. So just like the previous loop, we can just enter multiple grades. The only difference here is that we don't need to specify the amount of grades that we need to enter. It'll just keep looping until we tell it to stop. So we can just enter 100, we can enter 101, this is grade number 2 is 101, 50, 0, 1, and as soon as we enter a negative number, anything below 0, it's going to say press any key to continue, and it's going to exit the program. And it will say grade number 6 is negative 50. You can fix that by like saying something like this, and if grade is greater than or equal to 0, then we can basically tell it to only run this bit of code here, right? So now if we enter it and we do a grade here and we say 10, 0, and then if we do negative 50, it'll just say press any key to continue. So it won't actually pop up that last grade. So very short tutorial here because we learned the for loop already. This was the while loop. Next episode we're going to be covering the do while loop, which is very similar to the while loop, and it's probably the least commonly used loop in C++. So thanks for watching. I hope to see you around.